morning, everyone, especially to our Professor, Attorney Maurice G. Ruslinda. Good morning, sir. I am Regent Yersi Dilaw, Bachelor of Science in Criminology, first year, Section A. Today, I'm going to tackle about the reaction paper on Lourd De Veyra's documentary video on the DFA and the West Philippine Sea. So, here are some guide questions for me to answer. So, first questions. What were my first thoughts after watching the documentary? So, my first thoughts after watching Lourd De Veyra's documentary on the DFA or the Department of Foreign Affairs and the West Philippine Sea is it is a complicated issue because the Philippines is facing a powerful country, especially it is China, and the DFA has to be very careful with its actions. And we need to be aware. Many of us Filipinos don't fully understand what's happening. So this kind of documentary helps us see the bigger picture. Overall, the documentary helps us understand how serious and sensitive the issue is. Second question. What are the most significant points or arguments made in the documentary? So the West Philippine Sea is rich in resources, but sadly our fishermen are affected because Chinese boats are stopping our fishermen from fishing in our own waters, which affects their livelihood. Also, the Philippines has a strong legal claim. According to international law or the UNCLOS, the West Philippine Sea belongs to us. We just need to stay informed and united. And this documentary encourages us Filipinos to understand the issue, support our country's efforts, and speak up to protect our rights. Third questions. How did the documentary present the historical background of the West Philippine Sea dispute? So the Philippines has long used and known the West Philippine Sea based on the maps, records, and the lives of the Filipino fishermen. But in recent years, China started claiming the area, even though they didn't control it before. This caused a dispute over who really owns the sea. Fourth questions. What strategies were highlighted in the documentary regarding the Philippine government's diplomatic efforts? So the documentary explained that the Philippine government uses several peaceful strategies to defend its rights in the West Philippine Sea. These include relying on the international law, especially the UNCLOS, to support its legal claim. It also highlighted how the government continues to file diplomatic protests against illegal activities by other countries, mainly the China. Additionally, the Philippines worked with allies like the United States and other Asian nations to gain support and strengthen regional security. Another key strategies shown in engaging the dialogue and negotiations to avoid conflict while still standing firm on national interests. Fifth questions. What insights did the documentary provide about the involvement of other nations, particularly China and the United States, in the West Philippine Sea conflict? So, the documentary explained that other countries, especially China and the United States, play a big role in the West Philippine Sea issue. It showed that China is actively claiming the occupying parts of the sea, even building artificial islands and blocking Filipino fishermen, which creates tensions. On the other hand, the United States supports the Philippines by promoting freedom of navigation and helping strengthen defense ties. The documentary also suggested that the Philippines must be careful to manage its relationship with both nations to protect its own interests while avoiding conflict. So, sixth question. How did the documentary emphasize the importance of the West Philippine Sea to the Philippines' national security and sovereignty? And what potential threats or challenges were discussed in relation to maintaining control over the region? So the documentary highlighted that The West Philippine Sea is vital to the Philippines' national security and sovereignty because it is part of our territory and rich in natural resources like fish and oil. It, it explained that protecting this area means protecting the country's borders and ensuring food and energy security for Filipinos. It also pointed out several challenges such as the presence of foreign military ships, especially from China, which often enters the area and causes tension. These actions threaten the safety of Filipino fishermen and weaken the country's control over its own waters. The documentary showed that if the Philippines doesn't act securely, it could lose access to valuable resources and allow other nations to dominate its territory or our country. Last question, number 7. How has this documentary affected my personal understanding of the West Philippine Sea dispute? So, the documentary helped me better understand the problem of the West Philippine Sea dispute. It made me realize that the issue is not just about territory but also about national security, natural resources, and the livelihood of Filipinos. It showed how the Philippine government is using peaceful and legal means to defend its rights, and how other powerful nations are involved. Overall, it gave me a clear picture of why this issue matters to every Filipino and why I need to stay informed and united. And that's all. Thank you.